Sonya Massey's family alongside Ben Crump addressing the public for the first time since Sheriff Jack Campbell announced his retirement. News Channel 20's Carolina Hassett was there and has more on their thoughts and legislation they're working on in Sonya's name.
That's right. While Sonya Massey's family says Campbell's retirement is a good first step, they say a lot more is needed to overhaul the system that hired Grayson in the first place. Crump and his team have been working on a proposal for a new law to prevent what happened to Sonya Massey from happening again. They say the bill would work on ways to fix flaws he believes is included in the Safety Act. This includes a police database that includes infractions on the job and not just past felony convictions or serious misdemeanors.
We wanted to include infractions such as DUIs. We wanted to include infractions as driving 101 miles per hour during a police chase. We wanted to include if you use excessive force or unnecessary profane language on a citizen.
Now, the attorneys added that law enforcement would be required to report these infractions. Now, he also added that legislation is seeking a waiting period of 45 days before an officer is hired so a complete background check can happen. In Springfield, I'm Carolina Hassett. Back to you.
Thanks, Carolina. James Wilburn, Sonya Massey's father, joined the conference on Zoom because of health conditions. He said, quote, "We need to see a complete changing of the system that allowed Sean Grayson to kill my daughter." More details about this legislation will be revealed tonight at 6 p.m. at a rally for Sonya Massey at Pleasant Grove Baptist Church. Now back to that fatal phone call. It's been almost a week since Sheriff Jack Campbell announced his retirement. This following the death of Sonya Massey and the charges being brought to former Deputy Sean Grayson. The county looking for a replacement for Campbell. His retirement takes effect at the end of this month. Tonight, a rally being held in Sonya Massey's honor, as well as a celebration of President Biden's declaration of the 1908 race riot site as a national monument. News Channel 20's Carolina Hassett is at the rally now and has more.
That's right. I'm here outside Pleasant Grove Baptist Church where they are honoring Sonya Massey. Now we're told we're going to get more details about the legislation that's being introduced in her name. Now the new legislation so far includes a national database that will record more infractions from law enforcement, including DUIs, as well as a longer waiting period between when officers can get hired for more background checks. This rally also includes a celebration of the 1908 race riots being declared a national monument. Now, Teresa Haley of Haley and Associates says that while it's unfortunate it comes on the heels of Sonya Massey's death, her story and the history of the riots, it's about time to become recognized nationally. In Springfield, I'm Carolina Hassett. Back to you.
Thanks, Carolina. We will continue to bring you what was discussed at that rally as soon as that information becomes available. And Sangamon County Board members' efforts to recall elected officials is shot down. Sam Kamen wanted to give voters the chance to oust local government leaders. He proposed adding a resolution to this year's November ballot whether to keep Sangamon County Sheriff Jack Campbell. And it could happen in the future, but it won't be easy. News Channel 20's Carson Gordy joins us in the studio with what officials say.
Right now, Illinois state law does not allow counties to hold recall elections, but Democratic board member Sam Kamen says it's possible. Kamen cites a portion of the state constitution, and he says that will allow Sangamon County to hold a recall election. I spoke to Sangamon County Clerk Don Gray. He says his office only follows explicit election laws listed out by the state. Illinois State Board of Elections told me there's nothing written about counties being able to recall elected officials.
When it's not explicitly stated in law, that's when you end up in court. That's when judges need to make decisions about, okay, this is not explicitly stated in state law, what is permissible.
Currently, Kamen's resolution was not brought up for a vote by the Sangamon County Board. He's looking to get a vote on it by the August 19th deadline for it to be on the ballot, although he considers it unlikely it will be brought up for a vote. I'm Carson Gordy. Back to you.
Thank you, Carson. Carson delves into that part of the state constitution that Kamen cites on our website. Fatal phone call. There are continued calls for justice for Sonya Massey. She was shot and killed in her home by a former sheriff's deputy after she called to report a prowler. Now, The former deputy is now facing murder charges in connection with her death. The Springfield community gathered today at Pleasant Grove Baptist Church in Springfield. Members of the Massey family, as well as attorney Ben Crump, addressing the crowd. They say they will continue to push for justice for Sonya and demand accountability from law enforcement, not just for this shooting, but in the aftermath of the tragedy.
Is there anything else we can do for you? No. Especially not come into my house and make my children motherless, make my mother childless. I'm my mom's only child. Make my aunties not have a niece who's talented in cosmetology and cooking and lifting her family up. Who's there to do that now?
Speakers at the rally tonight continued to push for complaints against police officers to be made accessible to the public.
Attorney Ben Crump addressed that crowd, as we mentioned, at the rally. While the family says this is a step in the right direction, more change is still needed. Crump also called out Sheriff Campbell again.
About the sheriff, he gave his word that he's going to help get justice for Sonya Massey. Well, we want to see your actions.
Crump and his team have been working on a proposal for a new law to prevent what happened to Sonya to happen to others. And to a follow-up, the Sangamon County Board met with people for the first time since the aftermath of Sonya Massey's death. Dozens of speakers were demanding change to law enforcement. News Channel 20's Carson Gordy, he joins us after attending last night's meeting. Carson?
From more funding to stricter procedures, some speakers wanted measures to prevent a death like Sonya Massey's from happening again.
To address this, we must scrutinize and examine the financial decisions behind our law enforcement strategies.
Some speakers called for more funding for mental health counselors to go on first responder calls with deputies and more training for de-escalation programs for deputies. Sangamon County Democrat Sam Cameron agrees, as well as Republican board member Andy Van Meter. Cameron says that changes to the budget, such as cuts to some expenses, may need to happen.
We need more mental health training, more publicity about this 988 number. I don't think very many people know about it.
Some speakers want tougher background checks when hiring deputies. They criticized Sangamon County for hiring Sean Grayson, who had documented allegations of police misconduct at previous employers. The county says they were not aware of those situations before they hired him.
Probably a question that has to be dealt with at the state level, that there needs to be some sort of law or some sort of clearance system for the background on these other deputies.
So would there be an in-house policy where you would want the sheriff to FOIA request on his own so you could see that?
Again, that's really an issue for the sheriff to decide, but clearly we have to do something to improve the level of information we have about incoming deputies.
Van Meter says he's looked at how Minneapolis and other cities reform their law enforcement agencies after cases of police brutality.
We've learned so far is that the process isn't quick. There aren't quick answers here. It takes a lot of listening, and it takes a very transparent process.
Some speakers I spoke to say they will continue to come to the county board meetings until they see reforms enacted. I'm Carson Gordy. Back to you.
Thanks, Carson. Sheriff Jack Campbell announced he is retiring by August 31st. The Sangamon County Board will have 60 days from his retirement to find an interim replacement. Thanks for watching. Stick around by subscribing today and don't miss a single video.